So anyone who is starting their journey into the data world, SQL is one of the important skill which is here from last couple of years and will going to stay for last many years, I feel. So whether you are data analyst, data scientist, data engineers, or even if you are a full stack developer, SQL is the one skill which you should know. That is the key skill which somebody should know.
Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I hope you all are doing good. We are back with a new video. This video is going to be really important for anyone who wants to get into a data engineer role. With the increasing amount of data being generated and collected by organizations, the need for system and infrastructure to manage and analyze this data is becoming increasingly critical. This is leading to a growing demand for data engineers who play a crucial role in designing and building the systems that enable organizations to effectively use data. So today we have Deepak with us. Deepak has 13 plus years of experience in the IT industry, of which 10 plus years is in big data world only. So also Deepak was one of the first few who started working in Hadoop big data analytics in the year 2011 itself. Even before cloud providers like AWS, Microsoft, Azure, or Google were popularly adopted. So watch this video till the end. And before moving forward, take a moment to subscribe our channel and press the bell icon so that you get notified for all our upcoming videos. So welcome, Deepak. Thank you for taking out time to do this with us. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So, thank you for bringing me on this platform, first of all. So, as you already pointed out, that I'm someone who started quite early. So, like, my journey was started from a Java developer. So, I was not originally the data engineer or the big data developer. So, in those days, I was a Java developer. I started my career as a Java developer, and and then while doing the Java, I feel like that probably I should get into the new technology. And then I started doing the big data. Those days there was an Hadoop, cloud data was there. So those days there was no data engineer requirement was there. Those days it was just like a big data developer or an Hadoop developer. So those kind of requirement was there. And then slowly I become an Spark developer, then AWS, then Azure, then Snowflake, and the life goes on. So nowadays I'm working as a technical architect where I work for one company, and there I develop a technical solution around the cloud and data space. Beside this, I'm quite vocal on the social media platform. I love to write a lot of blogs. So I write blogs on the Azure and Snowflake. So a lot of people love my blogs, and I'm one of the most followed uh, Azure professional on the LinkedIn. So if you are someone who is love to learn about the Azure, and someone who are excited about knowing this cloud space, probably you can follow me on the LinkedIn for more.
Okay, great, Deepak. So, like you mentioned that you are a tech architect at your company, right? So, I think a lot of the people don't really understand what does that mean. So, can you just tell us a little bit about what your roles and responsibilities are at your job?
Okay, so see, technical architect, it's someone who is going to design the solution. So you probably, who all are listening to this, probably you might be the someone who knows the coding, who knows how to. Somebody gives you the requirement, you probably knows how to solve this problem. But in what pattern this need to be solved, or what could be the whole structure or the architecture for this entire project. So this is the something which is getting to be designed by mostly the technical architects. So technical architect is the one who decide, okay, we are going to use the SQL database, or we are the one who is going to use the NoSQL database, or maybe we are going to use the SQL server or a Oracle. So you're probably deciding the tools, you're probably deciding the technology, that we are going to use the React or Angular, or maybe we are using the Java for this project, and how the data flow will happen from one module to another module, or from one application to another application. So if you look at the one big diagram in that entire project, that is an architecture diagram. That is something which is developed by the technical architect. Although this sounds like just a one diagram making, but that involves a lot of experience, lot of careful observations and research, that in which scenario this could be the best fit, in which scenario this could go fail, and etc etc. So that involves a lot of knowledge and a lot of research even at the start of the project to decide the architecture. And once all this get decided, generally all the developers are the ones who actually go and implement this solution, and then you have a testers and all other who is verify this everything is working fine or not. So that's what generally a work of a technical architect.
Oh, great. Okay, Deepak. So, like you mentioned that initially you started with being a developer only, right? And you also started at a time when it was not that popular, and this field was just getting developed, right? So, can you share with us what was the motivation behind making a fully fledged career in this field at a time when nobody else was paying much attention to it?
See, I mean, you remember one thing in your life: if you do a common thing, you will get the common result. So if you need some uncommon output, you need to do something which is not very common. Same thing is in the IT as well. So like most of the people was doing my days was like the Java development probably, for example. So I was also one of them. The motivation was, if you are into the new technology, probably uh, your future might be more exciting in terms of the kind of a work which you're going to do. Second, in terms of money. So obviously, if you are in something into the niche technology where less number of people is there, probably you are going to be valued more. So eventually, you will going to earn more money. Third, there is also a cons with that, because imagine that the new technology probably which you are trying to pick in, if that doesn't sound to be a good for a lot of companies and that doesn't get popular, probably you get into a something which is not getting more number of jobs, etc. So there is always a kind of a, a plus minus always there, but I feel that most of the time it's plus only rather than being a minus. So even when you choose any something niche or anything, only the advice I would have is pick up more of like pick technology rather than the picking the tool. So that is the thing. For example, let's say SQL could be a technology, but just doing SQL server would be a tool. Just knowing MySQL would be just a tool. Okay, so don't go only by tool, because tool might not get popular, but technology probably will be.
Okay,
So
great.
that should be the mantra.
Okay, great, Deepak. So my next question would be, because I see this term quite a lot these days, right? So there are a lot of job openings for cloud data engineer, right? But then there is also one job profile which is called data engineer. So can you just tell us what is exactly the difference between both of these kind of profiles? And if someone is wanting to, get started with this sort of role, how much of coding is actually required to get started with it? You can just tell the differences first and then this part.
Yes, sure. So first of all, I mean, there's a very slight difference between the data engineer and the cloud data engineer. See,
Okay.
data engineers mostly the one, you can say, who do the on premises or like without the cloud. For example, like think about the 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, let's say you are in moving the data from one place to another place, you might be using some ETL tool, and you are using Spark or Hadoop for doing the data analytics. So using these technology, probably you're doing a data engineering on premises. Now,
Okay.
in recent times, there is a very popular, catchy, or a hot word in IT industry now is the cloud. So everybody somehow wanted to move into the cloud. Same is with the organization. So organization is also moving towards the cloud. Now, when organization has to move from on premises to the cloud, this cannot be done by the organization itself. They need the people, and the people would be cloud data engineers. So they need the cloud data engineers to move their data from on premises to the cloud, and probably doing all the analytics onto the cloud itself. Now, why somebody wanted to do it? Probably it has its own advantage of the cloud, like highly scalable. You don't have to like buy everything at the start, all that. And then it's a fast comparative, like you buy everything on your own, so it takes some time. But on cloud, you just click few buttons and then 100 or 1,000 machines available to you like immediately. So there are a lot of advantages, and because of that, many organizations wanted to move to the cloud. Okay, and that's why the cloud data engineers are getting popular. Now,
Okay.
coming back to the second question, like why, how much programming is needed? I feel that programming is quite less as far as we are talking about the data engineering. Okay, so
Okay.
data engineering is majorly revolves around the SQL. Okay, so if you are someone who knows the SQL, I feel that the programming side hardly 20% and 80% would be done by a lot of drag and drop tools and the SQL and all that. And
Mhm.
your programming might be like a little bit of Python. So that will be like 10-20% is more than enough. If you know basic of programming, probably still you can succeed in becoming a good cloud data engineer.
Okay, that's a fair definition, Deepak. So my next question would be around this only. Like you mentioned, if you want to get into a cloud data engineer role, things are a little bit different only from being a data engineer role. So can you just tell us like few tools or technologies that people who work as cloud data engineers start working on, and what all those tools should one start preparing on to get into this kind of roles?
So that's right, a very good question. See, first of all, cloud data engineer. So before getting and learning into the cloud data engineer, you need to first decide your cloud. So I mean, three most popular cloud are there: Azure, Microsoft Azure, AWS, and third one is Google Cloud. Out of that, at this point of a time, my recommendation is if you are learning something new, probably Microsoft Azure would be the best fit and best bet you can put upon. So you should start your data engineering or cloud data engineering using choosing the Microsoft Azure as a cloud. Now, once you decided your cloud, in that then there are few in the cloud there are few technology which you need to learn. For example, in the Azure world, you need to know Azure Data Factory. Now, good thing with this technology is that it is zero coding, so there is no coding needed. It's a drag and drop. So to just move the box here and there, and like you to do just some basic configuration, and you are ready.
Hmm.
So no coding needed. Azure Data Factory. Second thing you need to do is Spark, or if you want to do it in the Python, so it could be PySpark. And correspondingly, cloud version you can say is a Databricks. So that's another tool. But if you know PySpark, Spark, or Databricks, any one of them is fine. So you can
Okay.
do any one of them, and that requires a little bit coding and a lot of SQL. So that is
Acha.
something which is in any ways is common across the cloud. So whether you want to do into AWS, whether you want to do in GCP or Azure, or even if you want to be a normal data engineer, then also you need to know. So this Spark part, or which through framework through which you do the analytics, is common across all the platform and cloud or non-cloud thing. So that is a common thing. So from the cloud perspective, probably you need to know Azure Data Factory. That is a one important tool. Another could be some basic services around it like storage account, Key Vault, Synapse, Logic App. So these are the basic things. So what you can do is like if you want to know more about it, you can come down to my LinkedIn. There I talk a lot of about all these. So probably you get more information around it for how to become a Azure data engineer. So I run a mission. Probably you can be a part of that.
Okay, great, Deepak. So my next question would be okay. So one benefit that we see from moving to normal to cloud would be that we wanted to scale, right? But what all other advantages would you like to share, which are there if anyone wants to move the entire data analytics workloads to a cloud? Like what all advantages does a company have?
See, the biggest advantage is the scalability, as I said.
Yeah.
Now imagine that you know that data is growing every day. Okay,
Hmm.
so data is not restricted to a specific space or a specific point. So eventually, when your data size get increased, you need more storage power and you need more computation power. So every
Hmm.
time you need you need to develop a solution which is something scalable. For example, today I bought 10 machine and I connect together to form my cluster. Tomorrow data size grow, so 10 machine is not uh, taking all the load. You need more machine. So then you
Hmm.
buy again and then add it, and then you need to make sure that everything is working on once you increase this cluster, etc. So you need to make your things scalable. So you need to make your solution scalable. Now, if you do it onto the cloud, scalability has a lot of options. There probably you can choose the auto scale. So automatically, if your size get increased, it automatically increase the number of machines. The size get decreased, so it automatically reduce the size. So you have that auto scalability option. So important is like you can manage the huge amount of thing. Second, you get many service which is like a managed service, okay, where you don't have to worry too much about it because Microsoft or maybe any cloud provider is maintaining it. So it helps you basically um, to reduce down your overhead. For example, you don't need maintenance.
Hmm.
If you're taking everything onto the cloud, you don't need to install all the patches, you don't need to do the maintenance activity on your, you don't need to worry about creating the backup servers of your role, right? Because it's in the cloud. Cloud gives you the good guarantee. So there are
Hmm.
many advantages which probably you won't have being a normal one. Imagine that you need 100 machine, your users are into the United States and you need 100 machine into the US location. Even if you need a machine which is not in your geography, so you can get these servers from anywhere, any part of the world. So that facility probably is not there if you are onto the on premises. So there are so many things. I have talked about a very small or
Hmm.
very common benefit, but there are many other benefits.
Yeah. Great. So, Deepak, next question that I would like to ask, since you mentioned that you are working as a tech architect and you know quite a lot about this industry already, so can you tell us few case studies that you guys work on and even the data engineers that work on, so that our users can get an in-depth understanding of the kind of work that people get as data engineers?
So yeah, I mean there are many examples. One of a recent project which I worked was for a one manufacturing company. So
Hmm.
they used to make the vehicles. So now what happens is like what we used to do was like there those vehicles have these IoT devices enabled on that um, vehicle. For example, that sends the temperature of the vehicle, they sense the speed of the vehicle, like that. So all those data is coming into the real time onto the as a streaming data for us. So like
Hmm.
for us, it was like how to analyze or do the analytics on this real time of a data to
Hmm.
identify that if some support is needed for this vehicle, is this vehicle is running at a speed which can tear down some power, some some components of the vehicle. Maybe by looking at the patterns of the way he drives, can we identify that how much insurance should he has to buy, something like that. So
Hmm.
we were doing a lot of analytics around this. So this is one of a project which I was working. There are another project where we have analyzed a lot of data from the banking system. So like you have so many ATMs, right? Nowadays ATM has gone a little bit down, but
Hmm.
in the previous days, like 2 3 years ago, when there was a huge number of ATMs and cash was there. So
Hmm.
we did a one project where we tried to identify how you can optimized you can create a some optimized algorithm so that like you put the money which we call like ATM replenishment. So how you replenish the ATMs across the city in such a
Hmm.
manner that the same amount of money can give you the more satisfaction, like right, some ATMs are loaded with money, some ATMs go out of the money. So
Hmm.
how you can manage your money in the effective manner that both the
Okay.
ATMs will get a proper amount of money, something like that, based on the kind of traffic they get.
Understood.
So those kind of a couple of projects which I worked on, and there are many projects which comes nowadays. A lot of project comes as like migration specific, where you are
Okay.
migrating the data from on-prem to the cloud. So
Okay.
these are basically kind of many times a left hand shift or maybe a small changes needed while moving the data from on-prem to the cloud.
ओके सो इन टाइप के रोल्स में फ्रेशर्स के लिए जॉब्स होती हैं मतलब लाइक आर देयर अपॉर्चुनिटीज फॉर पीपल लाइक फ्रेशर्स?
See, if we talk honestly, our industry is so cruel. IT industry is so cruel towards the freshers always. So still jobs are there, but again, uh, how would I say? Jobs are there, but it's not guaranteed, right? That doing something like a data engineering will give you, because people consider experience more important than the technology. But still, if any person is there who is Java who learned the Java, and there's someone, another fresher who learned the data engineering.
Hmm.
The chances of this data engineering guy to get placed is much more compared to
Hmm.
the Java one, because he knows something beyond the common. All right.
Understood.
So some niche, because eventually every company is trying to do something in those space. So fresher requirement doesn't come like that. Fresher data engineers needed, but when
Hmm.
they're hiring it, if they see it in the resume, he know data engineering, probably he can be an asset going forward. So
Okay.
you will get the leverage there.
Okay. So talking about resumes, Deepak, do you think if someone is applying for a data engineer role, any sorts of projects which help them, like, or people looking forward to such kind of roles, they can already start working on any kind of projects to get those roles?
See, again, um, yes, you should put some project if you are as a fresher. If you are going there, you always should put kind of a dummy projects where you can showcase that you have done something
Hmm.
practically. So that definitely an added advantage if you have that in your resume. Now, what kind of a project you should put? uh, the kind of a project which I talked about, because that sounds more real thing. If the biggest mistake which people do is like they put a project something like that,
Hmm.
doing Facebook analysis, stock analysis. Looking at the project itself, I mean,
Hmm.
looking in the resume, I can recognize that this is fake. So,
Okay.
I mean, this is general notion in the experienced folks that these kind of project will be the dumbest one. Nobody works like that. So
Hmm.
generally, you need to do something which sounds more real. Probably you might say that I done some internship and I did some kind of project. So put something which is more realistic or more near to the real world. Probably again, I lot of time I personally take a lot of free sessions on this project thing. So if someone who is listening to this conversation, you can again join me on the LinkedIn where you get all these projects kind of thing in many free sessions.
Okay, great, Deepak. Okay, so my next question would be, you being working in this industry for the last 13 plus years now, and you have seen quite a lot of things change, right? How do you see this role evolving in the coming years, and what skills do you think will be the most in demand for the future data professionals out there?
See, one thing which I'm pretty clear is SQL. Okay, so anyone who is starting their journey into the data world, SQL is one of the important skill which is here from last couple of years and will going to stay for last many years. I feel so. Whether you are data analyst, data scientist, data engineers, or even if you are a full stack developer, SQL is the one skill which you should know. That is the key skill which somebody should know. Now, coming on to the data engineering roadmap or data engineering future thing, I feel that this trend will stay for a little longer, because this, as I say many times, that the last decade in IT industry was about the mobile app development and the digitalization or making the website. Last 10 years ago, I mean, if you see last 10 years in IT industry, you feel that people will concentrated on making the websites, making the mobile apps, something like that. I feel next 10 years would be around the data, where somebody is analyzing the data, somebody is collecting the data, somebody is engineering the data around in and around the data. So that is the space which is going to be hot for, I feel, next 5-10 years. So because all your generative AI which is coming in, right,
Hmm.
all they need the basic ingredient, that is the data. And who manages this data, who provides this data engineers are the one who provide all this.
That is a fair piece of insight, Deepak. Next question that I would like to ask would be, so now that people have understood what are the roles and responsibilities, and how, what all projects should one put in, and what kind of case studies people work on, can you just maybe now share, like, how can one stay updated with the latest trends and technologies that are coming in this field, and what all resources anyone can follow if they really want to be very much interested in it and also serious about it?
I feel honestly there is no holy grail. Okay,
Hmm.
you need to be keep open your ears and eyes, and probably the good places could be the LinkedIn. The good places could be reading the blogs, watching some good channels, YouTube channels. So ideally is like, if you're get in touch with the right people in that stream, probably you get to know what new is coming in. Okay,
Hmm.
so for example, let's say I talk a lot around the data. So probably
Hmm.
whenever something new comes around or new trend which I see, I do share. So if you're following, let's say if you're interested in data, so probably you can follow me, but maybe not me alone, maybe many other people in those area. So ideally you should follow the expert in that field wherever you want to see yourself a little bit growing, or you
Hmm.
want to see your future in that stream. So you follow those experts in those area. So probably that would be the first one, which gives you the little bit glimpse about the latest trends and in the IT space. Then
Okay.
reading blogs, YouTube, and all. Probably this could be the channels which I'm thinking on top of my head, to be
Okay.
honest.
So that was great insight, Deepak. One last question that I would like to ask from you would be around. You take a lot of sessions, right? I mean, with students who want to get into it, you also mentor them and advise them. So, what is that one thing that you feel people are making a mistake on? Like, that is a very common mistake that a lot of students who want to get into this field are making. And any sort of advice that you would like to give to people so that their entire journey of making a career in this field is a little bit smoother.
See, two advice. Okay, the advice number one, which is common across whatever the technology you are learning. Okay, whether Java, Angular, full stack, data engineer, DevOps, whatever. Consistency. So the
Hmm.
biggest challenge in today's world is the consistency. You have all the distractions available in this world. So
Hmm.
whether you buy a paid course, whether you buy a free course, people is not going to finish that. So if you
Hmm.
are the someone who probably is opted for any course, learning in any manner, free, paid, anyways, try to finish that. Don't get dumped into the ocean of the information.
Hmm.
Maybe you start with the YouTube, you watch one video, and then on the side you see some catchy video of the some music or something, and then you move to that, and then you after 2 hours you realize that you started watching something and where you are right now.
Hmm.
So the first and foremost thing is the consistency. Make your
Hmm.
plan, be consistent, be stick to it, and follow it. So whatever be the technology that works. Second thing, everything starts with a small step. You don't need to know the big thing. Probably if you have your basics right. Let's say for example, if we're talking about data world, I said focus only on the SQL for now. Let's say. Don't think that SQL is a very common, it's a old, what it is going to give me the advantage. I should learn something bigger thing. Don't start with the bigger thing at the very starting age. Okay, if you are starting very fresh, probably start with the basic thing. Let's your basic right, because most of the technology is built around those basics. So if your basics concepts are right, you know the things, probably it will help you 10 times when you learn something a new latest technology, because everything probably will be built on top of that.
Hmm.
So keep your basics right and be consistent, because tools are come and go. Today it's Azure, tomorrow it could be something else.
Hmm.
Snowflake, Python, maybe XYZ. So again, all this learning is very easy, because the way new technologies are coming in, they don't want you to sit and write code. They want you to just use them. So
Hmm.
maximum tools and technology coming in these days are something of a low code, or which requires a zero coding, or which requires a very less trouble on you. Okay.
Hmm.
So that's why you don't have to worry too much about learning on all of them. So far, if your basics are right, eventually you will able to understand all of them quite easily. So the learning curve would be less going forward.
That is great piece of advice, Deepak. I'm sure people listening to this will definitely put attention to it and they will make use of it. So yeah, that was it from my end. Anything else that you would like to share with our viewers?
I mean, like I talk to so many people. I taught 50,000 people plus. So as I said, the only one piece of advice I always give them: consistency. Don't
Understood.
break that. So you need to be consistent. You need to be keep going. You people start, but people don't end. That is the biggest problem. So if you start, if you end, you will get the success what you are looking for.
Understood. Thank you so much, Deepak, for taking
Thank
out time
you.
to do this with us. I hope people will take inspiration from you and also get started with this soon and stay consistent at whatever they're learning. Yeah, thank you so much. That is it for today's video, guys. I hope you all found it extremely insightful with Deepak. Please like and share the video, and don't forget to comment down below your queries, whatever you want us to cover in our videos, so that we will be covering them in our next video. And if you guys are new to the channel, then don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you're always notified on all our upcoming videos. And if you also have an interest in learning coding, even if you want to just get started with learning SQL, you could just go to our website and register for the aptitude test. The test will help you discover which course is best for you, be it MERN Stack or Java Stack. Both courses have best top IT instructors from whom you will get to learn. So do make sure that you check out the course. And yeah, thank you so much.